resident of Moscow, so you know I'm not an expert, because to be an expert, you know, you have to have traveled at least 100 miles. So maybe when I go to Regan's next, that'll work. I have 3 separate PowerPoints on the 3 key issues on the Lower Snake River dams. And so I've extracted some of the key slides from some of those. So this is kind of a compressed version, as it were. And some of these are going to go by pretty fast because I want to be sure we have a chance for questions and answers. So I'll shoot for, you know, Diane said about 12:45, and then we'll have that Q&A. My bottom line is we have a problem, and I mean all of us, whether in Moscow or Idaho or the Pacific Northwest. We have a problem that hopefully we can solve, and that problem, of course, involves salmon, and it involves orcas, and it involves freight transportation, get that grain to market, and hydropower. And so that's going to be my focus on those 3 areas. So I'm not a very good PowerPoint person, as you can see, and I see the love of the colors. And I'm sort of one of those, just the facts, man. So let's get started. Again, those are 3 areas that we're going to get some information about, and I suspect that you're going to be a little surprised at some of the information today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, we all theoretically know where the dams are, but I just put it up there just to remind us, and in fact specifically one dam. Here we have Lower Granite, here's Moscow about here. The dams are approximately 100 feet high and about 30 miles between each dam. I mean, one's 101 feet and so forth, but if you just think in terms of 100 feet, you're in good shape. Oh, I'm sorry, note this, because you may be seeing some information out there that says, gosh, the freight transportation is on the increase. And they look at the Corps of Engineers data and say, yeah, it's up to 4.1 million tons. But in that, no, back up, I'm sorry. In that figure is all of the petroleum that comes up right here and is just in a small little piece of the Snake River. None of that comes through Ice Harbor. So, you know, when we're talking about, today I'm talking about the dam and reservoir project, the Lower Snake project. And so there, the total freight, when we look at Ice Harbor, the total freight is about 2.6 million, which is a lot different than 4.1. Okay, we'll take a first look at freight transportation, and you'll notice the word new perspectives. A lot has happened in the last 15 years in terms of freight transportation, salmon, and hydropower. A lot has happened. And so this is, you know, hopefully as about up to date as we can get. This is the Snake River container on barge. It's called COB, container on barge records. It's right off the Port of Lewiston. Port of Lewiston was the only port that shipped containers. And so in 2000, right there, we had 17,590 TEUs, and that just means a 20-foot equivalent unit. So that's kind of how they measure container traffic. So most containers are 40 feet long. So that would mean more like 9,000 40-foot containers. And here we go to 2004, here, and 2015, the Port of Portland ceased their container operations. And so that was the big reason given for the loss of containers. It was because of labor problems over there in 2015 and et cetera. But note what had happened before 2015. The Port of Portland and their container operation over 30 years they had been profitable too. And in fact, the last year that the Port of Portland ran Pier 6, they lost $19 million. So this is kind of interesting too. Some of you might find it interesting anyway. 2012, that's the year that the Port of Lewiston decided they really needed a larger container dock. 2012. And so they said, with all the container traffic we're getting, we need a bigger container dock. And so they spent $2.8 million of taxpayer money to extend their container dock. And of course, shortly thereafter, all the container traffic was gone.
Lynn, what's the bump in 2007?
Pardon?
What accounts for the bump in 2007?
I don't know. No, good question, Nancy, but I don't really know. I didn't certainly see the trend.
That was 2 years later.
So I thought it might be good to look at more isolated, just Lower Granite Pool, basically Lewiston, Clarkston, and Port of Wilma. And so in 1994 here, we have, actually I think it's 1,234, just a little bit over 1,200 loaded barges that went through Lower Granite Dam. And it didn't matter which direction, but you know, we counted lower, we counted loaded barges. And so here you can see the trend there.
This is containers.
That figure is 344.
This is bulk too, or just containers?
Pardon? Oh, no, well, all shipping.
So
All shipping, all,
haven't the bulk containers got a lot bigger over the years?
the bulk.
Yeah.
No, there's the number of loaded barges
About half the barges.
that go, yes, loaded barges that go through Lower Granite Dam. And so that in 1994, there was a barge, about 3.5 barges a day. And now it's less than 1 per day. So again, there's been a dramatic change in barge traffic. Just a second, I need to get some water. Well, you think it's water, you don't really know. Crazy. So the Corps of Engineers keeps tabs on all the traffic and all the waterways and so forth. And this is the 14 key waterways in the inland waterway system. And here's the Mississippi. And by the way, these are what's called ton miles. In other words, shipping 1 ton, 1 mile is a ton. And so these are in billions, because of course, 1 barge of 3,500 tons going 10 miles is a lot of, ton miles. So anyway, there are the 14 key rivers in the inland waterway system. And you notice if you have more than 3 billion ton miles, you're a large shipper. I mean, a large river, I mean, a big use river. If you have from 1 to 3 billion ton miles, you're average. And a small river is defined as, in terms of ton miles, is defined as less than 1 billion ton miles. If you're looking for the snake, it's over here.
See the number.
I got a question on that. Lynn.
Yeah.
I see the Columbia right there in the middle at 2.1. Was that before the Port of Portland shut down their containers and stuff?
We're talking total freight. So it's not just container, this is all that we.
Yeah, but what's the date on this?
Well, let's see if I have it. This is my notes. That's which slide, what number is that?
That would be number 6.
6. I don't have anything written down here, so, and then let's stop just a second and say, I mean, I love it if you ask questions as we go, and then we'll kind of stretch that out a little bit, and so we won't end up, I mean, we won't have a Q and A then, I mean, that could, you know. But I guess I'm not sure how to answer it. But you can see, oh, by the way, this lists the snake at 0.3 billion tons. They're actually about 2.8 billion tons. And if you tripled the amount of barge traffic on the lower Snake River, they would still be a small use river. Tripled. When I was a kid, I grew up in Lewiston, and I still can remember going down the train out here and down to Lewiston from Minnesota with my grandmother and my two sisters. And so today I ride that, road, same trail on my bike. And so this is kind of neat. I mean, I kind of have that feeling about it. That was in 1948. So one of the big promises in the 1950s and 60s about barge traffic was that the barge slackwater navigation was going to bring us a lot of prosperity. In fact, I remember some people said Lewiston would probably get to be bigger than Spokane. And so here's the last 25 years of job growth. Okay? Growth in jobs, growth in covered jobs actually, which the Department of Labor defines as every job that includes Social Security, credits, which is, they said, about 93% of jobs. And so this is that growth since 1993. So we have 25 years of growth. And here's the state average, the dotted line. Okay, that's the state average, and you see a number of regions. The state is divided into 6 regions, and so they're north central and north and southwest and so forth. So that's what this represents. These colors are different regions of the state. And Lewiston and Lathrop County and Nez Perce County, and basically Region 2, including Idaho County and Clearwater County. Here's been their job growth. So I don't know whether transportation has saved the economy around here. I'm confident if we took out Lathrop County and reassessed, it would be lower than this. So basically, Region 2 has not recovered yet from the 2008 Great Recession. All the other regions, I don't know, maybe that one has any do certainly have, but most of the state is booming in terms of employment, in terms of population growth and so forth, but certainly not Region 2. Here's the barge. Take a good look because you don't see many of them anymore. And it's scarce. And the caption says the barge Snake River navigation channel is paved with taxpayer dollars. And I have for some time have used a figure of $25,000 subsidy on every barge that leaves Lewiston. And that includes things like the general cost of operating the locks and dams that is attributable to navigation. It includes dredging, all for basically the Port of Lewiston, because Port of Wilmot doesn't need any dredging. And so that runs about $2 million a year. The last dredging project was over $10 million, and the Corps now has said we need to dredge again. The last one was about 5 years ago.